Hello and welcome to Bridging the Gap, Strategizing for Student Success. My name is Marissa Bludorn. I am your host. I'm the editor-in-chief of Own It Magazine, which is the big sister to BTG Magazine, which is for our young people. We recognize that in order for us to help our young people, we have to help their parents too. And so welcome and take us to the stage, and owning it with me is Coach Ray is in the house.
What's
Dr.
going on,
J
everybody?
in the house. And so in January, we spoke to you in regards to the mindset of our young people. And that's so important because as we focus on the mind and get our minds right, then we can start working on things about the heart, right? We can start focusing in on our heart. So January was the mind, getting the mind right. And that's our intellect and the way that we reason. And our hearts are the emotional part. How do we gain control over and navigate through this crazy life for our young people and all the crazy stuff that happens on with them in life with our young people, and how they can navigate through this emotionally. And so I like to start with you, Coach Ray, because you are there, you are in the trenches with the young people on a regular basis. And so share a little bit of what you see, what's going on with their hearts.
As of right now, what I'm definitely seeing is a lot of young people don't understand how their heart works. They don't understand how emotional issues and emotional thoughts and emotional reactions can create long-term problems. So when we're having these conversations about the matters of the heart with our young people, we have to first and foremost teach them, like, your heart dictates a lot of how you flow. And if you don't get control of your emotions, you're going to make a lot of mistakes in this world. I have conversations with students all the time because I tell them all the time, most of your reaction and things that y'all do in these schools are emotional. Very little logic, which is what we were focused on last month with the mindset. That would be your logical thought process and your logical piece. Unfortunately, the heart and the emotional part right now needs work. Um, we've seen over even the last couple of years, the increase of domestic violence amongst teens, the increase of violent interactions amongst teens and teen groups, and teens cause them, killing each other a lot more. Not that they haven't done it in the past, but the numbers are rising, and there's more issues with young men hitting girls, fighting girls in the buildings in these schools. Like, when I was growing up, that was taboo. You didn't put your hands on a girl. That's just what it was. And I think the only girl I've ever hit in my life was my cousin. We were like 6. And cousins, you fight your cousins or whatever.
Right.
But in the mindset of putting my hands on a woman or a young lady as I was growing up, that was just taboo. We didn't do that. That's not what we were raised. But we were also taught to learn how to control our emotions. And a lot of these young people aren't being taught how to control their emotions because, one, they're in a household where emotions run rampant.
Mm-hmm.
So their hearts are not in place. Their hearts are not in position. They don't understand how it works because you think for years you've gotten your way. Your parents have become your buddy.
Right.
So you don't know the feeling of not being able to get what you want, which in a young age triggers an emotion. So your parents are able to say, hey, tighten that up. Go cry it out here. And with a lot of kids, they don't know how to react without it being emotional. They don't know how to channel it because they're not being taught.
Right.
And you have to be taught how to channel your emotions. It's not something that you just know. And we have a lot of grown men that don't, not even just grown men, but grown people in general that cannot control their emotions. I call it the love and hip hop generation. Everybody wants to do what they see on reality TV and react and think that's relationships. They think that's how it's supposed to be. So the kids are seeing this and they're thinking that's how their heart is supposed to be, emotional. Your heart is supposed to actually be connected to your logical processing. So when you're thinking logically, it's a lot easier to react with your heart because you've given yourself time to process and calm your emotions down. But when you react strictly off emotions and your heart, That's when a lot of problems happen. So we have to teach these young people to connect the two, connect their logical processing and their heart, and don't just react emotionally. So I will bounce back a question to you two, ladies, in understanding that mindset, the mindset piece as in the logical processing. How does one connect the two, the heart and the mindset together?
Hmm. Very good question. Dr. P, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm thinking as you're talking, and that Coach Ray, that was just awesome the way you even just connected the dots. It makes me think about, again, even some of the conversations that we have when we're trying to figure out what to do with our youth. That we as adults now, we get it. We've been where they are. However, it's a different time and space than when we were that age. So just being able to get them to see that there is a, like you spoke about, a consequence to what you're doing now, but life goes on, and letting them be able to see that when they're caught up with the heart, that is when you're talking logically, 5 years from now you're going to be an adult. Just tying in that, again, what you're doing today, and if it's just tied up in emotions, letting them, the way say, literally bridge the gap and jump into what you want your future to be in, and just being able to figure that out. And I think even as adults, and we're of course talking about this with parents, hopefully being able to even share with adults that are parenting teenagers, how can we let them see the bigger picture? It's not just your own little corner of life right now. You're a teenager, you're going from childhood to teens to becoming an adult, but how do we literally make that transition and help you understand that there's more to it? That's not easy. It is an individual circumstance each time. You talk about maybe abuse, and we don't know what a lot of people are going through at home. We see what's going on in our schools. They're dealing with things that we didn't have to deal with. We didn't have to worry about gun violence, and we didn't have to worry about this and being afraid to go to school, being worried about what a person would say about you online when you went to school. The biggest issues we had, it stopped right there at school, and now their lives continue on. So just being able to, even I would actually say have them share back with us what really are those issues. So then now we as adults, we as parents can really help you figure that out. And maybe if there's something that we don't understand as adults, talk to us and help us figure that out as well, so that we can come together and help your teenage years be a little bit better for you, because you're still dealing with this world. And we all are right now, but it's different because they're teenagers. Emotions are part of their changing. So, yeah.
Yeah,
And
very
there,
good.
and Miss Marissa, if you want to chime in.
Mhm.
Yeah, I when it comes to our young people and navigating through their emotions and making quality decisions, it begins with how we communicate with them as adults, because we are the model, right? So we're the ones who are demonstrating that they're new here, right? Our young people are new here when they become adolescents, when they start entering into their teens. That's new. It's not new for us as adults. So what our young people are really starving for us to do is to us get healed, the adults to be healed. Because when the adults are healed, they can introduce the young people to quality conversations. And when our young people are knowledgeable, so when the mind is knowing, when it knows how what's happening, when it understands what's happening, then the emotions can have a realistic quality response, because we are responding. When it comes to emotions, we're responding to our environment and what happened to us and what we just experienced. But we are in a society where the parents are stressed out, the parents are overwhelmed, the parents has lost disconnect with what actually transpired between them and their parents, because it's generational. So it's what we learned under the guide of our parents. And then what we learned under the guide of our parents, when we become parents, we either implement them or we throw them out the door. And so if we as a parent did not experience quality parenting, then we're ignorant to how to show up as a quality parent. And when we're ignorant to that, then our children are going to suffer from that. But we need to begin as adults to have intellectual conversations. I like to do my homework and my research. And so, because I'm an inspirational speaker, so when I speak based on inspiration. But we need some facts here. We need some structure to my response. And so, one
Right.
of the things is making sure that we create a calm environment for our young people, a calm environment so that they can relax and receive. And so we need to understand how our teenagers think and feel. Their feelings, what they're going through matters, because just like you said, they're experiencing trauma at school that is on a level that's never been before. Fear has entered in tremendously into the school environment, where you have all these shootings going on. You don't know who's going to do what. Just like you said, they're carrying guns. I remember when I was a teen, they had started by carrying knives. When I was a teen, it was knives, and we were like, oh my God, knives. Well, now they're bringing guns, right? And then it's not just one on one, it's massive. So if they're coming in doing massive shootings, then you don't even have to have anything to do with the person, and you could be a victim. So that's something. So we got to be, as parents and as an adults, because remember, we say, we always talk about it takes a community, it takes a village, right? So the adults in the community, the adults surrounding this particular or any particular young person, needs to understand that children, what they're going through and what they need to express matters. And taking the time to be present with the young person, and not being busy about many things, and not with the needful thing, which is the child that's in front of you. Bite your tongue as adults. Sometimes you don't have to answer all their questions, or you don't have to stop with the sarcasm, stop being smart, with them, and take care for them, take care for their emotions, even if it feels like it's like, oh my God, they should really get over this. Don't do that. Just allow them to feel like they are important, that they are special, not bratty, special, that they matter. And it says respect their different perspective. Remember, young people are trying to branch off to be adults. You can't keep them like kindergartners, where you want to be able to tell them what to do and them be seen and not heard. They're trying to find their identity. They're trying to identify and connect with their own core values, what matters to them, what makes them who they are. So if you don't reinforce that identity, they're lost. They're lost. So be respectful that they don't respond or agree with you. Um, and that's the parent or the adult putting the ego to the side. You got to put your ego down, and oh, you really think like that? And then go away with your friends and say, what the heck was that? But don't do it in front of them. Respect them. That's it. Provide outlets for them. Provide a space where they can truly, genuinely speak their mind. Remind them that there are boundaries about respect, but teach them how to be able to articulate themselves. Most young people who know how to navigate through their emotions is because they're intellectual. They have knowledge, they have understanding, they have
They've
conversations.
seen it.
Yeah, they have
They've
conversations.
seen it. They've seen the model.
Yeah, they have conversations with parents or adults, so that they make sure that they're knowledgeable about things, uncomfortable, knowledgeable about sex and all that comes with sex, protection, and all of that. When you talk to a young person candidly, honestly, and openly about everything and what's the protocols for things, they are mature because they know it's not like taboo for them. Um, and so be a role model. What kids don't follow what you say, they follow what you do. You're
Well,
smoking and getting high, and you're letting them see you smoke and get high. They're gonna smoke and get high. Don't get mad at them. You showed it to them.
you know what's
You
crazy?
showed
You know what's
it.
crazy? And I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's funny because I just had this conversation
Mhm.
a while back. With we have a lot of coaches I coach ball, and we have a lot of these young coaches out here who decide to say, hey, I want to help kids. And I work at the community center at night. And I've witnessed these coaches outside smoking in their car before they come in and run practice, or coming into the rec center smelling like weed and you about to run practice,
Right.
or coming into the rec center on a Saturday to coach basketball and you smell like weed. So we can't get mad at, like you said, and you were stating in your facts because they're all factual. You cannot get mad at young people for the actions they reciprocate, because they're reciprocating the adults that are in their lives. So for you, one of the facts you said was give them a safe space. One of the things that I do in my classroom is it's a safe space. I know kids are emotional at times. I do in-school suspension, so I'm not getting the kid that's having a great day. I'm not getting that kid. I'm getting the kid that's probably had a rough morning, something happened, got sent down there. So what happens is, like, these kids, they come in on 1,000. All right, cool. It's not my stuff. So if you want to take a desk and flip it over, whatever you want to do, you good to go. Just don't come up in my space.
Right.
But you know your line, know your boundary. But if you need whatever you got to do to get it out, get it out. But what we're missing, what as adults are missing, a lot of adults, especially the ones that I work with, a lot of educators that I work with, the superiority complex is driven by emotion. Because in this, most of the adults their pride and egos dictate how they treat these kids. Exactly. So I'm an educator, you're a kid, you're supposed to listen to me, but I don't have to listen to you. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Respect goes both ways. So if you're trying to get these kids under control, the adults have to learn the respect mindset as well. So I agree with what you're saying. Everything that you said in those details, in those notes, is that as adults, we got to be better models.
We do.
We do have to be better models because they're reciprocating us. So when you showing your kid come home and you mad from your work day and you cuss your kid out because you mad from your work day, but then you got nerve to get mad at your kid for cussing at the teacher at school because they mad about something, you are the reason why you're who they got it from.
Yeah.
Coach Ray, you're having a discussion now that we've been having for the last few weeks about that. So we're all talking about these different parts of being young. And that's one of the biggest things. The words that you speak out of your mouth are the biggest factors that are also affecting these kids when you're talking about the fact that you curse a child out and then you don't expect them to be the person that curses someone else out.
Right.
That, as adults, that still blows my mind. That adults don't understand that. And as you're talking about matters of the heart,
right.
One of the other things of the discussions that my young people are having are about that whole transition of feeling that we as adults, when you're talking about going from adolescence, childhood, going up to being a teenager, you're talking about the fact, do kids feel loved anymore or even liked anymore? Because my little baby, they're so cute. Your 6-year-old, they're so cute. Your 10-year-old, they're so cute. Then they turn into this teenager that is dealing with real hormones. So
temperamental.
And I've heard kids actually say, teenagers say, it almost feels like my parents don't even like me anymore.
Right. I've been told. I was told by my mom, I don't like you right now, but I love you. I was told that. But so where we are messing up is, like you said, and I love that what you did, love the example that you just put out there, because we're not modeling what love looks like to these kids anymore.
Right.
We're not modeling it, but we're expecting them to know it. We're expecting them not to be emotional when 90% of the reactions that they deal with are from emotional people. You cuss your kid out, that ain't logic, that's emotion, because you're mad. So instead of you learning how to channel your emotions so you can have a comfortable, calm conversation with your kid and y'all figure things out, you ready to fly off the handle and cuss everybody out in the house because somebody didn't take trash out. So now everybody getting cussed out. And that your kids feel that.
Yeah.
You don't say, hey, you don't say good morning. How was your day? You're not the little things.
Yeah.
That show kids that you care. And I say, like, I know the kids at school think I'm annoying in the morning. I know they do. Cause I'm loud at the bus loop. Yeah, energy. Good morning. What's going on, everybody? They be looking like, oh my God, coach, yo, like for real. Like it's 7:15 in the morning. Is that there? I'm wired. I'm in the hallway. I'm high-fiving kids in the hallway on my way to my room and stuff. But because they don't know that feeling, they don't know that feeling. And I'll use an example. I have a young man that I joke him. He's a bigger kid, and him and I jab each other back and forth. But he lost his father last year. And so it's easy for somebody to, just kind of go through the motions. He lost his father, but me every day, I see him in the hallway. It's a hug. You good? You need anything? Let me know what you need. This, that, and third. And so it's the relationship. I'm showing them it's okay to show love. I'm showing these young men it's okay to dap somebody up and give them a quick hug. It's okay. I'm sure you can. There are difference of emotions. You need to cry. Come to my classroom. I got you. Let it out. And that's where these kids need the safe space, as Miss Marissa was talking about. They need a safe space because some of these kids there's so much pent up anger, so much pent up frustration because a lot of kids don't think their parents love them. They don't think their parents care. So all that stuff is pent up inside, and they come to school, and the moment a teacher says something they don't like, they flying off the handle. I learned I can't react to that anymore. Just go ahead, say what you gotta say. But when you finish, we're gonna talk this through. And we're gonna go from there. You know what I'm saying? I had we have to get to that point where we're teaching kids how to use their heart and learn how their heart works. Not just assume they're gonna know.
Right. That speaks a lot. That speaks volumes. We're talking about matters of the heart, and it's all.
This is why we have the boys that when a girl tells them no, they ready to kill them.
Yeah.
It's emotional.
Yeah. Well, so what's going on here is it is a spillover. So parents, the mom and the dad, whether they're together, they're not together, because of their poor relationship, it's spilling over into the children. And on Sweetheart, before I say I do, which is Friday nights, we talk about the love relationship. And this is why it's so important that you can't separate any of this. When the lovers, the parents of the child, are in turmoil, it's the children that suffer. So if we can heal our parents, then we can heal our children. In the meantime, my desire is that because it is a challenge to really heal the adults, because remember in January we talked about mindset, right? So we talked about mindset, and we talked about a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. A growth mindset is open to adjusting, making the necessary adjustments to adapt to a better life, to be a healthier person. A fixed mindset, it says it is what it is, whatever, and you can't help that individual. And so, unfortunately, with what we're dealing with when it comes to young people, is the probability is that the parents may just not show up, and my heart breaks from that. But at the same token, my heart also feels like, well, we may not be able to help the parents, but if we can get to the kids to teach them about the CEO mindset, that they can make executive decisions for themselves in spite of their environment, in spite of what's been handed to them thus far, then maybe we can make a difference and an impact. Because in the love relationship with the man and the woman, they have issues showing each other love. So if they have issues and they're caught up in their egos and everybody's trying to do their thing, the kid does not get to experience love. When a couple is in love with each other and they care about each other and they're nurturing a relationship, the kids get nurtured. Because why? They're a product of that love. They have access to that love. And that's how the family works. And when that is broken, when there's a breach there, that's when we have the destruction of the children. And it's meant to destroy their future. But if the parents are open, whether it's a single parent or not, it may be a struggle. You're going to have to deal with the other partner being a pain in the behind, because I've dealt with both. I've had two lifestyles in one life. I've had a lifestyle with a dad that was outside of the home, and problematic, and influential in regards to my oldest daughter. And then I had a partner, married to him for gazillion years, and I had the opportunity to be at home with my children. So I had both, so I could speak to both authentically. And I say, and I know it firsthand. I lived it. When the parents are not in cooperation and in a healed place, they don't show up for the children, and it has an adverse effect on them for their lives. I did want to backtrack before we close, because we're already at the top of the half hour. We want to backtrack before we close. Dr. P, you had mentioned something in regards to the children feeling not loved. Coach Ray, you also chimed in on that, of the kids not feeling loved, and feeling rejected. Well, remember, when they're babies, we tell them what to wear, we tell them when to go, we tell them what to do. But when they're adolescents, they're coming into authority, and it's a part of the development cycle. There's nothing wrong with what these young people are doing. When they come to a certain age, they don't want to wear the cute pink shirt or the green hawk shirt. They don't want to wear that, and they have a right to branch off, because that, as a parent, is what you want. You want them to begin to make independent, healthy decisions for themselves, so that they become independent, and when they leave your house, they don't have to come back. Or let's put it this way, they actually leave your house, right? This is what you want with your child. You want your young person to start making the adult decisions when they come into their teen years, because as they make those adult decisions under your roof, you can monitor them, you can watch them, you can still have some kind of influence over it. I wrote the book, Maintain Your Superhero Status, a real parent's perspective, because you want to maintain your superhero status with your children, because you want them to believe that you are invincible. You want them to believe that everything that you say holds weight and ground, because it is the very thing that's going to keep them grounded when they leave and branch off. But parents get caught up in their emotions, and they don't want to they have a problem with seeing that kid branch off. So that's where the friction happens.
Well,
Uh,
I will say this. I'm sorry. I agree and disagree with that statement. I agree because you want your kids to see you as the superhero, but even Superman bleeds.
no, that's not,
So
you're talking about an extreme. I'm not talking
no.
about.
What I'm saying is that we want our kids to believe in the superhero mindset, but we also want them to know we're human.
The point of
And
the matter is just that you want to still have their ear. That's the
yes,
point of that. It's not an extreme. It's not fantasy. It's you want to still have some level of influence over your child and be able for them to hear your advice. When you get into that adolescent stage, if you shut them out, because it's proven, if you shut them out, they're listening to peers. So they're going
oh,
to
agreed,
peers
agreed.
for critical advice. And you don't want that. You want to make sure that you maintain a high level of connectivity to your child, a high level of access to your child, so that you are able to give them some guidance, not tell
Right.
them necessarily what to do, but give them some level of guidance.
But at the same time, what I was saying, and I wasn't looking at it from the extremist part. I'm looking at it from the aspect of like when kids become older and adolescents and they become those teen years, they start to kind of see through a lot of stuff. And what where a lot of parents tend to make the mistake is the whole like perfectionist mindset of I ain't never did nothing wrong. And you're
Mm.
trying to guide these kids into how to become better people by pretending that you've never made a mistake. And these kids see through that. They start to question because and also like as a youth leader, I've worked with people in ministry who you would think they've had the perfect life, And then you wonder why the kids kind of don't gravitate to you. It's like there's no translucency. And a lot of parents don't want to be translucent with their or transparent with their kids because they think their kids see them as fallible. But when in actuality, in them seeing that you made those mistakes and how you grew from it, you'll have their ear a little bit more. Versus,
absolutely.
versus I ain't never done that wrong. I'm hiding the fact that I've done stuff wrong. But or what is the old saying? Do as I say, not as I do. Like those mindsets are what mess these kids up. Yes, I did make mistakes. Yes, I did this. Yes, I fell here. But there's a reason why I'm trying to prevent you from going that route. Because I had to overcome it. You get to avoid it. And so as parents, we have to understand that we can't play the perfectionist. We have to play the realist. We have to play the person who is in tune, like you said, in tune with our emotions so they learn how to be in tune with theirs. But don't hide who you are from your kids, because once they find out the truth, then you got a whole other problem on your hand.
Yeah, because then they look at you from a place of hypocrisy. So
Exactly.
you're a hypocrite and you have the outlet. The only way you maintain your superhero status is being transparent. You got
I
to
love
keep
it.
it real with your young people, and that's why I was saying to you, saying also earlier was that when you have these intellectual, grounded, knowledgeable, mature conversations with your young people in regards to life and what happens in life and relationships and what happens in relationships, then you can keep an ear with your young people. You can keep it, you keep their ear. Um, but the only way as a parent that you can give that advice or you can talk to your young people is by you having your own healthy relationships, by
Mhm.
you having gone through some things where you didn't have a temper tantrum, that you understand how to have grounded quality conversations. Then and only then can you convey that to your young people. That's why it's really critically important for our adults to get healed
Heck
emotionally,
yeah.
Yes.
to heal the emotion. So closing remarks.
Let's go, Doc.
I'm listening to you both and I'm thinking just the words when you're showing respect and you're giving respect, you're showing transparency and you expect it back from your young people as well. And you said it really well when you said about being realistic, not being a perfectionist when it comes to different things. So it's just about even us all coming to the table and being willing to have the young people talk to us and be able to be adults that talk back and even think about the fact of those parents that need to start that journey to some of that healing to help their young people. Hopefully we're there to maybe kind of show some of that as well, because it's becoming an adult is has been a journey. And now what can we now help each other as fellow adults do so that
Right.
we can help our young people?
Yes.
That's the question of the day. What can we do to help each other? How can we
Hmm.
communicate better? And maybe we can get some answers to some of the questions, not only that we still have and may just even discover as adults, but those, these really smart, intelligent teenagers, don't count them out. They know and they see through and they want answers too. They want help,
Mhm.
they want healing. So
I
maybe we
love it.
have to do it together, even at some parts of the journey. Yeah.
Well, that sounds. Hey, that was clear and cut. I will say this as my closing, and this is to our young people. I know we got a lot of adults that watch this, but this will be to our young people, our teens, college students. Think about your favorite celebrity, athlete, movie star, musician. Think about some of the ones that you watch, respect, and learn from, and think about the ones who did something emotional and what happened to them. The ones who weren't in control of their emotions and what happened to them. I don't. There's no statement. It's just I want you to look at the people you admire
Mm.
and check how they operate. The ones that operate logically, look at their success rate. The ones that operate emotionally, look at their success rate, and just go from there.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Excellent point. Excellent, excellent closing. And I just say, listen, this is your life, own it. You have to get in touch with yourself, and find out what triggers you. What are the triggers emotionally? Um, I'm a spiritual person, so I believe in prayer. And I know that one of the biggest things that helped me during my adolescent times was really just going to God. I did not realize that that was intercessory prayer for me. I did
Hmm.
not realize that. I was just, I was a very happy go lucky teen in a world around me that just was so miserable. And for some reason, I don't know why I was still happy. But I did have conversations with God to say to Him, hey, help me navigate through this. Help me understand why this world is just so broken. And I'm here. And help me to find my purpose. What did you purpose me to do? I continually had those conversations at an adolescent. One of my love languages is communication. I like to talk things out. I want to know about what the world is about. I even as a young person, I like to have deep rooted conversations. Um, and I did not have access to that as a young person, but I did have access to God. And so I prayed and I asked Him to help me. I asked Him to be there with me, to be my protector. And I tell you what, I've been having those conversations with Him ever since. And in spite of my mom and my dad were pretty good to me when I was a little girl. But when I became an adolescent, I had that breach of the relationship, specifically with my mom. My dad was not in the house, so it wasn't like I had a breach of relationship with him. It just was known that he's not there. The strong relationship would have been with my mom, who was raising me. And she just did not know what to do with a team. She did not know what to do with me. I'm a deep thinker. I'm a high achiever. I'm a go getter. She did not have a clue what to do with this child. But I tell you what, in having those conversations with God, He directed me. And He said, if your mother and your father forsake you, I will never forsake you. And that is the saving grace to see that I'm become the woman that I am, the loving mom. And I was very transparent with my children, told them all my flaws because I didn't care. I wanted them to know the truth. And so when we do that, when we take the time to get connected with ourselves, in spite of our environment, God pours out His love and He will protect us and guide us through. And so that would be my closing thoughts for tonight. I'm not overly spiritually. I'm not trying to tell you where to go. I'm just telling you what I did. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are out. We are looking forward to seeing you again next week. We will still be talking about this love thing because we got to get it right. We will talk about the heart, the heart, the heart, the heart, where all the love and all of our issues of life pour out of. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Be blessed. We love you. We'll be praying for you and keeping you on our heart. Till next time.